Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Obaid, and I am a pharmacist, and I wanted today to make this small video about COVID-19. I did already make one video in Arabic language, and I will make this video in English for my not Arabic friends. Actually, I'm gonna talk about the virus today, and the components of the virus, and how can someone get the virus, and what exactly the virus is going to do to our cells inside our body. And the other video is going to be about the chloroquine or the hydroxychloroquine, the anti-malarial drug, and I will explain for you how the scientists think that chloroquine can help us to fight against the virus, and in which mechanisms, because there is more than one mechanism for this drug. Anyways, COVID-19 is like the coronavirus, and it's called 19 because the first infected person, they found him in 2019, and that's why they call it COVID-19. I'm going to talk in the beginning about the virus. What is virus? A virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent that replicates only inside the living cells. Virus can infect all types of life form, like the animal, plants, and microorganism, as well as the bacteria. And the first electronic microscope was found in Germany 1931. And after that, they could see what are the components of the virus, and they could have the first picture of the virus. I'm going to show you here an example. This is like an example of the influenza virus. It's contain the lipoprotein membrane and the one strand RNA or DNA, not both of them. The bacteria have the DNA and the RNA strands, but the virus has only one of them. And the protein capsid. The protein capsid, we're going to talk about it later because it's really important. So this is like a small picture of the influenza virus and the components. Anyways, it's like all of the viruses has they have the same components, and we're gonna talk about the immunity as well, like the human immunity. What is immunity and which types of immunity we have? We have the adaptive immunity and we have the innate immunity. The innate immunity is like the normal immunity things that we have, like skin, the eyes, like everything that stop from the other things. I'm going to talk about the immunity as well, and which types of immunity do we have in our bodies. We have the adaptive immunity and the innate immunity. The innate immunity, for example, is like the skin, and the adaptive immunity has two types, natural and artificial, and both of them has as well two types, the passive and the active one. The passive one from the natural one is the maternal. That mean the immunity that we already have in our bodies. And the active form of the natural one is like after an infection. The artificial one has as well passive and active. The passive one is like the antibodies transfer, and the active one is the immunization. Like after immunization, we will have this form, the active form of the artificial one, or from the adaptive immunity. The second question is coronavirus a new virus, or it's like an old virus? Coronavirus is an old virus. It's not a new one. Each time we get like a new coronavirus and with a different name that will attack different cells in our bodies. I will give you, for example, the SARS one in 2002. The SARS one is the severe acute respiratory syndrome. They were found that they did find that the SARS virus came from the bat, and it's transferred from the bat to civet cat. I really don't know what the civet cat is. I just saw the picture of it in Google. You can Google it as well, because it's not like a normal cat that we have it in our normal life. And from the civet cat, it's transferred to the human. That was in 2002. And then in 2012, the MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, they found that it came as well from the bat to the camel, and from camel to the human. And then in 2019, the COVID-19, the coronavirus COVID-19, it's came from the bat as well to pangolin. Pangolin is another animal that I have never seen it before. Maybe you can Google it as well and see how it looks like. And I can't imagine how the contacts came like between the human and this animal, because you don't see it. You don't see it actually in normal life. But who knows? In China, they have everything. They eat everything. This is not against China, but it is like this. I'm going to talk here as well about the death rate from each one. And the death rate is like the number of dead people on the number of the infected people multiplied by 100, and we're gonna have the percentage of the death rate. So from the SARS, for example, 800 people from 8,000 people has died. Multiplied by 100, it's gonna give us 10%. It is a high level. It's a high percentage of death rate. And the MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, 850 person from 2,500 person multiplied by 100, it's gonna give us 34%. Or I'm forgetting, my English language is really bad right now, because I really mix it with my English language, with my German language. And in German language we say 4 and 30, so it's like this. So it's like the opposite of the English language. And now this number is actually from yesterday, 25 of March 2020. 483,500 people are infected with the coronavirus, the new COVID-19, and 19,600 people dead. Multiplied by 100, it's gonna give us 4.46. Again, the same problem, 46%. If you compare this percent to the other percent from the other coronaviruses, it's a little bit low. It's not really high, because here we have 10%, we have 34%. But the problem, we don't know if this percent was gonna stay at the same level or it's gonna go higher. The problem is those people, we don't know if they gonna get better with the time, or the dead people rate will go higher with the time. We still don't know. Here I have something. I have the R naught. What is the R naught? The R naught is a very important thing about the viruses, and it's like the rate or the ability of the virus to go to between the people. It's the ability of the virus to transfer from one person to another. So, for example, the R naught of the coronavirus is 2.5 to 3. That's mean one infected person with the coronavirus can get the infection to 3 more people, and each one of those 3 people can get the infection to more 3 people. And that's why it's very, very dangerous. If we compare it to other viruses, it's gonna spread really fast and it will affect more than one person in a short time. If we compare to the influenza virus, the R naught for the influenza virus is 1.2. Is approximately each infected person will give the infection to another one, and this one will give it to another one. So it's not really dangerous like the coronavirus, the COVID-19. All the plans today, the governments, they want to reduce the R naught for the COVID-19. Why they want to reduce it? Because if we come here and if we draw the linear of the R naught of the COVID-19, this is the time and this is the number of infected people. So the infected people rate is going to go high with the time, because as I said here, each one person gonna give it to 3 more persons, and that's why the R naught is more than 1 and it's gonna go high. If the R naught, like the influenza one, exactly 1, then it's gonna be linear like this, because each one gonna give it to another one. The number of the infected people is not going to be high. Why the government and the people, doctors, healthcare providers are doing right now videos and advices that all the people have to stay at home. If the people stay at home, we're going to reduce the R naught here. That's mean if the R naught smaller than 1, then it's gonna go down. That's mean we're gonna get the virus dead. And if you look here, and this one person gave the infection to 3 more persons, but those 3 persons, they didn't go out, they stayed at home. They didn't give the infection to more 9 persons, and that's why we're gonna have a smaller R naught. This is very, very important. And now let's talk about how the virus can go inside the body of the human, or the types of transmission of the virus. The types of transmission right now are the coughing, sneezing, and the infected places. If you touch it with your hand, because the virus is going to stay on the infected places for 24 hours. And the airborne, there is like 3 studies right now. They are saying that the virus can stay in the air for 3 hours. The other study is saying it's for 2 hours. And the other study is saying it could be in the air for many minutes. So it's not clear right now if the virus really can stay at the air for a long time. And if this is correct, that's mean everyone gonna go inside this like if I cough right now and someone come after 1 hour and he just sit down here where I was, he gonna get the infection. Not because he touched the infected place, only because my viruses, they are in the air. And this is really dangerous. And let's talk now about the virus, the COVID-19, and how it's going to go inside our lungs, what it's going to do to our lungs, which mechanism, which cells are going to be affected. The virus, as I said before, it's like the RNA strands and the polyprotein membrane and the spikes. The spikes are really important because they help the virus to attach itself to the targeted cells inside the lungs of the human bodies. Once you breathe in the air with that contaminated with the virus is going to go inside your body, it's going to go inside your lungs, and it's going to reach your alveoli. Alveoli is the smallest component of the lungs, and this is like a bigger picture of the alveoli of the lung. The alveoli is like a small bag, and here is like the blood vessels around it. Here is the membrane, and inside the alveoli is like this angiotensin converting enzyme 2 cells. This is the target for the coronavirus. If we're gonna take this cell, gonna make it bigger. This is like sorry. No, again, the alveoli of the lungs, it's contain 2 types of cells. Type 1, and it's important for the gas exchange, and type 2, which produce the surfactant. And those are the type 2 cells. And the type 2 cells has the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 on the surface of it, and this is the key for the virus to go inside the type 2 cells in the alveoli, because the virus gonna attach itself to the angiotensin converting enzyme 2. It's like receptors for the virus. It's gonna attach itself with the spikes and gonna go inside the cell. Here, to get attached to the receptor, to the ACE2, it's need sialic acid. This is important as well, because we're gonna talk about it when we talk about the hydroxychloroquine and how we're gonna use the hydroxychloroquine in the treatment of the coronavirus. Now, after the virus attached itself to the receptor here, it's gonna go inside the cell, and it will the next step is the uncoating step. After the uncoating step, it's gonna open, it's gonna give the RNA strands outside the cell, outside the virus, and inside this cell, inside the host cell, the virus gonna replicate itself. The RNA strands through the RNA depending RNA polymerase. This will give us more RNA, and the other cells will produce more polyproteins, and those polyproteins gonna take they gonna go through the proteinases, and it will attach itself to the other RNA strands that they already multiplicated, and they will make more viruses, more coronaviruses inside the cell. So, and after we're gonna have more than polyproteins here. Those polyproteins, they will affect the macrophages. The macrophages will attach to the polyproteins, and after that they will produce the cytokines. The cytokines are the interleukin 1 and interleukin 6. Both of them are responsible for different types of action inside the cell. And after that, the cytokines will be produced in a huge amount. As I said, the interleukin 1, for example, it's gonna make the vasodilation here in this blood vessel. And if we make the vasodilation, we're gonna have the more permeability of the vessel. That's mean if we increase the permeability of the vessel, we're gonna have more fluid inside the alveoli, and then more fluid in the alveoli is gonna give us the alveolar edema. That the more like a lot of fluid inside the alveoli. And if we have a lot of fluids inside the alveoli, that will increase the surface tension. And after we increase the surface tension of the alveoli, we're gonna have collapse of the alveoli. And if the alveoli collapse, we can't or it can't do its normal function, like the gas exchange and everything else. And that's why the patient who infected with coronavirus, he cannot breathe like normal. He gonna have coughing. There is a lot of studies that they say this coughing is with sputum, and the other saying they are this is not a productive coughing. This is like dry cough. I really don't know if it is dry cough or like with sputum. So now we have the coughing, and after that the interleukins, they're going to travel with the bloodstream to the hypothalamus in the brain, and after they go with the to the hypothalamus in the brain, they're going to increase the temperature of the body, and we will have the fever. We're gonna have a high fever. Those are two symptoms, the coughing and the fever. And after that, the patient will have like increasing in heart rate, because if the gas exchange here, it's not taking an action, the lungs cannot do the gas exchange. That will lead us to get the hypoxemia. The hypoxemia is like there's not a lot of oxygen inside the body, and if there is not too much oxygen inside the body, the central nervous system will give like signals to the heart, and it will increase the heart rate. So the patient will come with coughing, fever, increasing heart rate, and as well the other symptoms when someone doesn't have enough oxygen inside his body. So now let's talk about hydroxychloroquine. A lot of scientists right now trying to understand the mechanism of action of this drug and how it could help us to get rid of the virus. Here is like the type 2 cells of the lung, of the alveoli. This is the virus. The virus has like those spikes, as I told you. He needs the spikes to attach itself to the receptor, the angiotensin converting enzyme 2. This step need the sialic acid. The sialic acid need quinone reductase. The quinone reductase, it's a very important enzyme to produce the sialic acid. The hydroxychloroquine will inhibit the quinone reductase, and that will lead to inhibit the production of the sialic acid, and that will inhibit the virus from attaching itself to the type 2 cell. This is one mechanism. The other mechanism is like they think that the hydroxychloroquine will increase the pH inside the type 2 cells, and by increasing the pH inside the cell, it will inhibit the uncoating process. We will not have the uncoating process. The virus gonna stay as it is inside the cell. But the question is, if the virus stay inside the cell and it didn't uncoat it, what's gonna happen? If we have if the hydroxychloroquine lose its if it will lose its function, and this pH will drop again to 4.6, will that lead us or lead the virus to be active again? Will the uncoating process be active? Or the macrophages will come and attack this cell as a foreign cell, a foreign body or something? I really don't know. And those are the most important mechanisms, because the other mechanisms are really not clear until now. And this one as well, it's not clear until now, but this one, there's a lot of studies that prove that hydroxychloroquine will increase the pH inside the type 2 cells. So I hope that it really helps. I hope that all the mechanisms are really effective. And the studies will show us with the time. I think they are doing it right now in China and in America and different countries in Europe. They are trying to make the trials and the studies on the hydroxychloroquine, and they are looking if this really work. This is the video. I'm so sorry for my English language. As I said, I really mixed it up with my German language. And I hope that you get some useful information from this video. If you have anything to add it to this video, please just write it down. If you can correct me with some information, please write it down to me. I will be very thankful. And I wish that you enjoy the video, and I wish that you all stay alive for 2020, and you all stay without any infection and away from the coronavirus. Thank you.